Across to our guests, we have Mr. PKD Nambiar, political analyst, joining us, and we'll have Ms. Kalyani Shankar, senior journalist, also with us. Mr. Nambiar, let me come to you. I think it will be fair to call you a BJP sympathizer.
I would. I don't want to. I like the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to a great extent, but that does not mean that if there are wrong policies, the government, of course, I don't support all the policies of the government for sure.
All right, sir.
I leave that to you.
All right. So here comes the first question. In state after state, the Congress is getting bogged down by internal dissidents. So the party, some would say, is on a suicidal course. I mean, at a time when its base is shrinking across the country. What do you think ails the Congress? Of course, the BJP itself has problems of its own. It has dissidents in many states, including Uttar Pradesh. But right now, we are focusing on the Congress. What is the problem, sir, with the Congress?
So there are multiple issues the Congress has today. One is, and the foremost, is the leadership crisis. The leadership, it do not have a full-time president. It's one of the oldest political party of the country. It has the one which has ruled almost 60 years of our country, but do not have a full-time national president. So when a party which do not even have a real head, what can you expect? There is no aspirational leadership. So politics is all about aspirational leadership. If you do not have an aspirational leadership, then of course, everybody will have their own challenges at different levels. So as you were mentioning in your initial the brief, there is a transformational change which was missing in Congress from the last so many decades. So unless and until that transformational change which do happen at the leadership level, and without having a full-time leadership which is inspirational and bringing aspiration to every people. Like for an example, you were talking about Mr. Sidhu. He wanted to have some kind of a command there which was offered to him. When in the same way, when the Rajasthan the PCC president was Sachin Pilot, he was just discarded. The DK Shivkumar has just come in and he was trying to revive up in Karnataka, but then you see that what's happening, that Siddaramaiah still wanted to have a control over the party. So unless and until there is a strong leadership at the center, which is able to command over the party, a full-time leader who don't want it to, who is not just available on Twitter, but available for all the leaders, to guide them on a daily basis. And politics, please understand, Rishi, is a 365 days, 24/7 activity.
All
not
right, so
once in a while.
We know who you are referring to. It's an obvious mention of Mr. Rahul Gandhi. Sir.
See, I believe Rahul Gandhi is a great guy. The only thing is that he is unfit for politics. So it is not like that everybody is not meant for a particular profession. So it is the apathy of the congressmen is that they do not able to think beyond Rahul Gandhi and the Gandhi family. So if a few days ago somebody was written a very nice article saying that if Rahul Gandhi wanted to have a complete change and the way he wanted to conduct his politics of his own style, he should form a new party and bring a new level of politics in this country. But in the current scenario of Indian politics, you need to have a 24/7 active politician, as you said. Mr. Narendra Modi, we hear and talking about that in 18 hours he's working. And wherein you have one, the main opposition party chief is working for 2 hours or 3 hours or that too occasionally once in a week. So this is not the right thing. And second, another thing which if you really look at, we are talking about the G23, the large number of former Congress leaders, most of them do not even have any kind of a ground relationship. The problem is that on the top heavy, you say that you have large number of leaders, starting from a Chidambaram to a Kapil Sibal to some of those great A.K. Antony to so many people, but the problem is that they are not at all in touch with the common people of today. They are not at all an aspirational leader. They don't understand what is the real challenges of the youth of this country. So remember that an opposition, generally
Right.
It is said that when you are in opposition is the time you can perform better in politics. Look at from the last 7 years of Congress, they have not been even able to lead a major strike or major campaign all across the country against the present government. So in a way that this country requires a major opposition party like Congress, but unfortunately they are only looking at one family, that of the mother, son, the daughter. Beyond that, if they are not able to think, then of course, needless to say, it is just a matter of time that the Congress will be over from this country. And Congress
Right.
mukt Bharat ki zarurat nahi hai. The Congress will be automatically be over, wiped out, not because of a BJP or anything else. It is only because of the Congress. And Rahul Gandhi will be one of the primary reason for the Congress getting eliminated from the country which it's ruled for
All
60
right,
years.
Nishank.
See, I would say that Congress as a party has got a large amount of a pool of good leaders all across the country. As Kalyaniji was telling, that we can't underestimate the power of Congress, because Congress as a culture is there in the large amount of people even today in across the country. But the problem is that it's not a functional political party. Today is the dynamics of politics have changed completely. It is an organization which works not by a group of people. Congress has now become a group of people in isolated places here and there. Look at it, is not only the places where they are ruling, Rishi, it is also the places, if you really look at from the point of view of a Bihar or a Tamil Nadu or in many other states, they are merely a number two player. Even in the West Bengal, they were absolutely merely a zero. So how can you run a national party? How can you run a national party with having not even an active workforce on the ground? You don't want the politics do not happen on the television studio or on the Twitter. Politics do have work on the ground. So look at when on the one side you have a political party like BJP, which is actively working on the ground from a booth level to the national level. There is a leadership change keep happening at every 3 years. Everywhere it is fully active and aspirational for the young minds to come up. On the other side, the regional parties like a DMK or even for that matter Trinamool Congress, even Sharad Pawar's NCP, they are all becoming more and more powerful at their own regions.
Right.
Congress really need to work hard at the ground, and it has to start from the top. So if
Right.
at the top level, if you don't have a leader which can command the respect across the party line, irrespective of senior or junior, irrespective of the people, youth or or an old guard.
All right.
If you are not able to have that leadership which can command an authority within the party and amongst the people, and he himself should also become an inspirational and an aspirational figure.
Right.
Unless and until that is not there, and I believe that as an analyst, I can tell you that Rahul Gandhi may not be the right person. Even if at all, if he is so.
All
Even
right,
if he is
Rahul Gandhi may not
he
be
has
the right
already
person.
made the damage as a brand. He has already created a damage to himself.
All
So
right,
it may
so
be very
yes.
difficult for him to come back.
So, right, thank you, ma'am, for joining us, Ms. Shankar. Thank you, Mr. Nambiar. So